My name is Fedencio Cuevas. I'm co-president of the Gonzales Teachers Association. This morning we're here to basically keep an eye on what our board members are doing. Our trust has been severely affected over the past year, and we have several different issues that we as a community are concerned. I'm also a community member here, and our students, we believe are getting the short end of the stick. So we're here.
My name is Monse Garcia, and I am one of the teachers that was non-rehired, non-reelect. So the reason why I'm here is to advocate for myself, to advocate for my students, and more important, to advocate for the community. I think that the school district, or I believe that the school district is just wants to kick teachers out that speak up and speak out for the community. So I'm here just to empower the community and to really try to remind them who they work for. Thank you.
My name is Edwin Roque. I'm a substitute teacher for the Gonzales Unified School District. I work at all 3 sites. Right now, I have been working the entire year at the middle school. I have worked since day 1. At the beginning, there was 4 open positions that didn't get fully filled until January of this year. So we've had ongoing subs, long-term subs, any kind of sub you can imagine. And with this shortage, it has been terrible for these kids. On top of that, I'm also here at these meetings to represent our community that's being robbed. They're being defrauded by a system that's supposed to protect them. You have school board members and administration that don't know Brown Act, don't know parliamentary procedure. They don't know what they can't do, so they feel like they can do anything. So we are here to remind them that we are not ignorant, and that it only takes a small fraction of our effort to get ourselves educated, to get ourselves the knowledge we need to show them that they can't walk over us.
Hello, I'm Shay Rodriguez. I'm a parent at Community Gonzales, California. What brought me here this morning is some of the deceitful tactics by the school board members, and what's happening is that they're not listening to the teachers or their parents, such as myself. The community got over 1,000 letters, and our population is 8,000, so that's roughly over 10% of our population requesting that the superintendent be removed, yet they're still standing by her. Why is that? So they're placing the value on one person compared to the entire community's request of 1,000 people, which there's probably going to be more. So if you can, come out here and support the community and especially the kids. Thank you.
My name is Arin Millet, and I'm a union co-president here for the Gonzales Teachers Association. I came because they had a special board meeting at 7 a.m. To me, that appears they're trying to silence the community. The community has been speaking out in huge numbers against the system here in the Gonzales School District that's been going on as long as the superintendent's been here. Our superintendent's been here for too long. We uncovered over $12 million of unspent money that was given revenues for the students, and now that I uncovered all that money, it's on a public website, eddata.org. This year they've finally cut loose with some of the money, and what money they're spending is simply because the eyes have been brought on them that they have not spent over $12 million on their students. The students are the ones who are suffering, while the administration is doing what the administration does. And so the problem is, it's at the top. So unfortunately, there is some funds going out this year, but it's only because of public scrutiny. And so I'm here to support the community. I'm a teacher and my students are suffering. And it's not fair to the students. As the community says, it's blatant abuse of the migrant community with the money that has been awarded to them. And they are the stewards of that money. And it's going into the reserve of the district. It's not getting spent. Thank you.
My name is Araceli Flores. I am a community member and a parent. I have 2 children who attend La Gloria Elementary. I have been coming to these board meetings since last year, spring of 2017, and I'm currently just being a support person for the teachers who they're firing. At this point, I've been learning that the turnover for teachers and good teachers there's a lot of turnover. The board doesn't necessarily really support the community. We have learned in these board meetings that they have supported the superintendent more so than the people that voted for them. We have had board members tell us that not to blame the superintendent because it's the board's fault because they're the ones who approve and make decisions. And throughout this whole process, the superintendent hasn't even taken responsibility or accountability for any of the mistakes that she's made, and she's been here 12 years. We have a high school that still looks like it's from the 70s. We have a elementary school that does not have enough teachers. Kids don't have enough time to finish their lunch. Rooms don't have air conditioning, and classrooms can get up to 90 degrees hot. Our school books are falling apart. The music, the band and the music has books that look like they're vintage. It's unexcusable when you see the salaries of the people who work in the district office. They're pulling out about $1 million a year in salaries. And yet, we can't get decent books. We can't get bathrooms that smell good. We get leaky roofs. We can't get a decent paint job on the school. There's no excuse, and the community is now coming together. We are not going away, and we are going to continue to muscle up support. Amen.
Closed session topics of discussion. F1, Public Employee Discipline, Dismissal, Release, Government Code Section 54957. And F2, Conference with Legal Counsel regarding anticipated litigation. And it also says number G, public employee comments on closed session items. Yes. Before we go into the comments, I do want to mention that this is not an action item, so we will not be reporting any action after closed session. Okay. Public comments on closed session items. At this time, members of the public may address the board on topics that are under the jurisdiction of the board. For public comments on items not on the agenda, the board may not discuss or take action during this meeting. Comments from the public shall be limited to 3 minutes on any topic. The board may limit the total time for public input on any topic to 20 minutes, unless it chooses to waive the item limit for a particular item. Okay. Does anybody need translation? Okay, then we will proceed. I do have some cards here, and again, we will limit this to 20 minutes since that's our limit for this one topic. And let's see if I remember how to use this. I don't know that we need to have them in order, so I'll just take them as they are here. So the first one is Mr. Riccardi, Dan Riccardi.
Members of the board, thank you very much for your time. I approached the board at the meeting in the cafeteria approximately a month ago, sharing some concerns that I had, but teachers throughout our district had about substitutes, and I wanted to know if anything was being done since that time. Because I know you can respond, you don't have to, but no response.
Well, you saw the presentation at the last meeting, Mr. Picardi. We did address the issue of pay. Our pay is more than commensurate with other districts, although you stated publicly that we were lower paid. We are not.
Okay. Well,
and you saw Ms. Moore's presentation on soliciting substitutes. Every district in the county is having issues with substitutes right now. It is not unique to Gonzales at all.
And let me respond to that. Today is Tuesday. I subbed on Wednesday of last week, and the rate was $220 a day, because when us teachers, when we go into the classroom, we're not paid at $160. We're paid at an amount that equals $220 a day. So I subbed on Wednesday. I was asked to sub on Thursday because once again we had a sub problem. However, I responded, hey look, I just subbed the day before, and they said, okay, we'll find somebody else. I was asked again to sub on Friday. Ms. Francione. Thank you. I was asked again to sub on Friday, and I did. So I subbed on Wednesday, I subbed on Thursday, I subbed on Friday. Again, it was paid $220 a day. And I was asked to sub again yesterday. Now, I haven't been asked to sub today because I don't have a prep, so I can't help out. But in the last 5 days, last 5 school days, I've been asked to sub 4 times. I also understand that at La Gloria, there was such a sub problem on Monday, that, on Friday, that first grade teachers received 9 students that they hadn't planned for in their classroom because of the sub shortage. So I appreciate Ms. Moore, and I appreciate her presentation. I'm reiterating, though, we have a substitute issue. And even though the official amount is $160, that's not what we're paying. You're paying far in excess of that. And I think it's important to understand that, because perhaps if we raise the amount to something closer, then we can attract more people. We still have a substitute problem, and I don't want you to misunderstand that it's solved, because it certainly is not, as of just yesterday. Thank you very much.
Is there anybody else on the substitute issue? I want to, since we're on that discussion, did you go one of these?
Yes, it is. I can change mine. Good morning, Board. Having your meeting at 7 a.m. is not keeping us silent. As you can see, we're still coming, aren't we? So I'm going to piggyback right on to Mr. Picardi's mention about substitutes, because I too myself, within the last 5 days, have had to substitute 3 times. And yesterday when I had to substitute, my students being math and the math 3 students getting ready for that SBAC test, I was making posters. I needed to make posters for my students for their review. I had to sub. I couldn't make the posters. Nobody in the office, as nice and willing to help out as they have been by making my photocopies for me, can make these glad posters at the level of the quadratic functionings that I needed to show to my students. Who suffered? The students. Their SBAC scores. They're not getting their proper prep because I'm being pulled out of my room for my prep period. And that's who's suffering. And I do agree that the pay does need to be more than competitive because it's not attracting them here. So now what I have is a job description. Because you go to our website and we don't list job descriptions in our HR department. But you can go to other school districts and they list their job descriptions. And here's the job description about a school board member trustee. Here's your role. A school board trustee sets the vision for the district and holds the superintendent accountable for enacting this vision. As a steward of public tax dollars, it is also the trustee's job to make sure the district is being financially prudent. Trustees approve any contracts the district enters into, pass budgets, approve job descriptions, and all district hirings, etc. Trustees also monitor and approve issues related to expulsions, curriculum, negotiations with different labor groups, etc. They are also the face of the district for the public and the constituents of the district and meet frequently with the parents, staff, and students in order to have a feel for how the vision is being carried out and to hear about any concerns. Let me repeat that you hold the superintendent accountable for enacting the vision. You feel the superintendent is your boss. You've got it wrong. You are to hold the superintendent accountable. You represent this community. You are the face of the community. You are the stewards of the community. You do not sit in judgment of the community. You are a public servant. You serve the community that elected you in this position. You are a public servant. And you hold the superintendent accountable. Thank you.
First, I'd like to just reinforce what Mr. McCarty was speaking of in that we can certainly do some things to optimize our subpay, but that's only part of the problem, and it's a very small part. The bigger part has to do with why don't subs want to be here? Why can't we get subs? It's not just pay, especially when you look at the turnover rate in our site administrative staff. I mean, some of the numbers are staggering. How many principals has Fairview had in the last 5 years? I think 4 or 5. I'm in my, like I said in the last meeting, I'm on 5th year at the high school. I'm on my 3rd principal. LaGloria's had changeover. So the bigger issue is what is making these sites so toxic, and it's a system issue, and it's the leadership of the district of that system. And as Ms. Millet points out, the ones who ultimately suffer are the kids. Because if you don't get subs, then teachers' planning time gets cut into, and it just keeps rolling downhill until eventually the product that we give our kids is lessened. So I think the bigger picture is you as a board, what are you going to do to fix that system? Because it's a system that's been in place for a long time, and these problems aren't problems that have happened overnight. These are problems that have been building, and frankly, the longer you've been on this board, the bigger part of the problem you've ignored. And so at what point are you going to change this system? And that's my message to you.
Fedencio, Cuevas.
Good morning. A few weeks ago, Becky had sat down with both myself and Mr. Picardi and assured us that only 11 teachers were going to be non-reelected. That was going to be, that number of teachers were going to be non-reelected. And I hope, and you guys mentioned that there's no action being taken today, but I sure hope that you're not letting any more teachers go. Because the problems just keep on mounting up. One of the last times that a 7 a.m. meeting was held at the district, there was a district realignment that was approved, right? And it resulted in raises for those in the district office. And so I hope you're not trying to pull a fast one on us again.
Edwin, Roque.
Good morning, members of the board. I would like to bring to you some concerns that the community has noticed and would like to have addressed and corrected at the most immediate possibility. On February 26th, during the closed session, the board recorded 5 votes on every line item session. That was during the closed session. The community believes this to be false, and we can prove beyond any reasonable doubt that that's the case. Unfortunately, Ms. Elizabeth Funk was not present at the board meeting, yet on the agenda, it shows that she voted yes to adopt the agenda. If you remember correctly,
She was
that is
present
during...
in the closed session.
Excuse me, I'm speaking right now. This is a public comment. Can you please allow me to continue? Thank you. On the agenda, it shows that she voted to adopt the agenda. Along with several community members, videos, they can attest that she was not. Not only that, but it shows that Ms. Funk voted on every closed item session and every motion that was passed during closed session. She seconded every motion. And unfortunately for the board, Ms. Funk, if you're not aware, According to Brown Act, if a board member is not present but would like to teleconference, which is allowed, several requirements have to be met, as follows. Teleconferencing may be used for all purposes during any meeting. At least a quorum of the board members must participate from teleconferencing locations within the city's jurisdiction. Each teleconference location must be identified in the notice and the agenda of the meetings. Agendas must be posted at every teleconferencing location, and each location must be accessible to the public. Brown Act also states that votes are to be taken by roll call. So how can a person that was not there and then amended to absent 1 minute before closed session is over get a vote? We simply cannot. It's a clear violation of the Brown Act and the community's trust. A violation of this magnitude could have legal repercussions. Even more so if it has been a recurring issue. Not only is this a violation of Brown Act, it invalidates every decision taken during closed session on February 26, 2018. This is our first attempt as a community to request to do the right thing as required by law. You may call another special board meeting, re-vote on all the issues brought up to rectify the damage that has already been caused before the community has to resort to legal counsel. Should the board consider this, I also urge you to consider the following in order to be in compliance with the Brown Act. Each employee let go based on performance should have their own line item, unless the reason they're being let go is identical to one another, which would only allow you to group teachers with the same position, grade levels, and study. This, as you can see on the minutes, was not the case. So every teacher being dismissed does deserve their own line item. Second, on any individual line item, the board can request administration to conduct another evaluation. And third, ask an uninterested party or participate yourself.
Mr. Roque, just for clarification, Ms. Funk was present in closed session the day that the vote was taken.
Unfortunately, she wasn't present.
She was not present here, but for other reasons she could not be here, but she was in closed session.
But on the agenda, it shows that she did vote to adopt the agenda.
We'll check the minutes on that.
I can, Ms. Millet.
No, I mean, we'll have the minutes. No, we'll check them and have them amended if it's an error.
Because that's not as simple as an amendment. It's a violation. It's considered fraud. You guys, it's considered a false use of a vote. You literally voted for a person who wasn't here. That is not as simple as an amendment. You may talk to your legal counsel about that.
Good morning. My name is Vanessa Robinson, or as you referred to me as employee number 157650. I'm here today to express my right as a public employee to have a public hearing on the reason I'm being dismissed or non-rehired. According to the Brown Act and California Government Code 54957B1, subject to paragraph 2, this chapter should not be construed to prevent the legislative body of a local agency from holding a closed session during a regular or special board meeting to consider the employment, evaluation of performance, discipline, or dismissal of a public employee, or to hear complaints or charges brought against the employee by another person or employee, unless the employee requests a public session. I fully understand this would mean waiving my right of confidentiality. I would like the board at this time to motion to have this added as a line item on the next board meeting during open session. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Monse Garcia, or as you refer me to as employee number 158203. I'm here today to express my right as a public employee to have a public hearing to the Brown Act, California Government Code 5457B1, subject paragraph 2. This chapter shall not be construed to prevent the legislative body of local agency from holding closed session during the regular or special board meeting to consider the appointment, employment evaluation, or performance discipline or dismissal
of a public employee, or to hear complaints or change brought against the employee by another person or employee unless the employee requests a public session. I fully understand that this would mean waiving my right to confidentiality. I would like the board at this time to motion to have this added to the next board meeting during open session.
And the last card that I have is for Andrew Sandoval.
Good morning, board. My name is Andrew Sandoval, and I'm calling because I wanted to express some concerns. On February 22nd, I requested to an employee, Sofia Ramirez, for your UCP policy to be translated into Spanish. We're now at the 20th.
UCP is Uniform Complaint.
Uniform Complaint Process, yes, because I think that's, as you know, a high population of Gonzales district is Spanish speaking only. And I was dismayed and disheartened. Actually, I was kind of disgusted, to be honest, that her response to me was, I'll read it verbatim. My request was, I have some Spanish-speaking families that can't read English. Can you please email me a copy of the UCP form and procedures in Spanish? I tried looking on the district website but could not find it. She told me I could, that she would have it for me next week. Unfortunately, that was not the case. I emailed her to follow up yesterday. I said, hi Sophia, do you have a time frame for the Spanish document UCP? Not yet, but because you speak English, it doesn't make sense that you are requesting the document in Spanish. Okay. And I'll provide that to the board. Se me hace ridículo que una comunidad que habla español no les quieren dar los documentos en español. Yo pienso que una nueva práctica para el distrito debe de ser para cualquier persona que pide esos documentos en español se los deben de dar. Does that seem reasonable to you? Okay. So I was disgusted at this. My parents, I remember translating for my parents. I'm first generation here, and I'm sure we have a lot of people who are first generation here. So I asked this board, I also asked, you have a lot of people here. Have you board members considered meeting with the public? I think, I'd like to see if you guys would commit today to say, you know what, let's meet, let's try to find some solutions to these issues, and let's try to move forward. Because these are real issues. And at the end of the day, the people that get affected are the children. And I know you guys are not here for yourselves. You're here for the kids. So I say, let's try to see what we can do to arrange a meeting so we can all figure this out. And I'm sure together as a community, you guys can do that. Thank you.
Adjourning to closed session. Again, there will be no action items that we are considering. Thank you.